Hi, Taurus Sun and Rising. Welcome to your October 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Alrighty then. So we're in Libra season as the month begins. And for Taurus, Libra is the sixth house, which although it's not it's kind of this awkward 150-degree angle, it still is an earth house, and therefore you do have something in common or an affinity for this being an earth sign. So the type of themes of the sixth house, like health and work and time management, are things that a Taurus person can relate to. So it's good on that front. And then you're going to the sun is going to go into Scorpio, which is your opposite sign, and you definitely have that connection to Scorpio, opposing it in astrology. So there you go. So on the second of the month, we have a solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Libra in the sixth house of work, or what I call it, service to others, health, your daily routines. So how you manage your time. And this indicates some kind of, perhaps it might be a shakeup, but it could simply be that there is some kind of catalyst that is creating a need for changing this radically. So an example would be somebody who is working, maybe they've worked for 40 years, a Taurus person, for 42 years, 45 years, and all of a sudden they're retired. And it's like, oh, wow, now what do I do with my time? That is a radical shakeup. And in some cases, especially because the eclipse is engaged here, this is something that is not necessarily what you are activating yourself. This might be something that happens apart from you. Maybe you get some kind of, I don't know, promotion, and you are going to work in a different country. And so your, schedule is going to be turned upside down, or at least for the time being, you're going to have jet lag and all of this stuff. But the other thing too is that the south node, the transiting south node, is going to be close enough to form a conjunction with the solar eclipse. So the south node represents the past, or it can represent the karmic past. And this is like turning the page on perhaps your attitude towards work. Because being a Taurus, being an earth sign, you can, some Taurus people are very fruitive in their work, in the sense that they work to make that money, because you are the ruler of the second house of earned income. So making money is what you are all about. And then there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what you specialize in. However, that's why I call the sixth house service to others, because when we remember first and foremost that in any kind of work that we are performing, that we are trying to serve others first instead of being self-serving, then we are not being fruitive. We're not doing things, we're not just giving to get, but we really truly have this desire to make the world a better place. And so letting go of the concept of work, and also just another thing too, is just like letting go of the concept of work. That's another reason why I don't like to call it work, because it sounds like toiling, that it's hard. Maybe you're entering a whole new field, or maybe you're even starting your own business, and it's scary to you because you're so used to this regimented lifestyle, which the sixth house represents. Now, this is not a lunar eclipse, which we would really see like letting go of that regimented thing. But because the south node is engaged, I kind of almost see it like a lunar eclipse. So yeah, so see how what happens. Even if you're listening September, you may get these developments then. On the 9th, Jupiter goes retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini. Jupiter is the great benefic. Even when it's retrograding, it can bless you. So it might still be something great. It's in Gemini. This is your second house of earned income. So you may get some kind of delayed blessing, a monetary blessing. So just keep an eye out for that. Jupiter was last in this sector about 12 years ago. I mean, Jupiter has a 12-year cycle, but I have Taurus rising, so I remember when Jupiter was in this area. I believe it was 2013. So that would be only 11 years, so maybe I'm off on that. I think it was, though. Anyway, it's supposed to be because, it's in a sign either 12 or 13 months. So it has to be, yeah, maybe that's when it first entered, was 13 years ago. Like in 2000 and, 12 years ago. Who knows? Like 2012 to 2013. But anyway, just understand that this is also the house of your values and self-worth. So Jupiter retrograde here can, cause you to really look at your relationship to money and how it relates to your self-worth, because some people really do connect the two. And I could see, Taurus, since you rule this house in astrology, that maybe they're one and the same to you. If the more money you're earning, the more valuable you think you are. You have to question those beliefs, because we are, as far as I'm concerned, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we just look at the material, we're missing the boat. You can't take it with you. So we have to put money in its proper perspective, which doesn't mean being, having lack consciousness or anything like that. We can have both, but self-love has to be not only it's an inside job, but it's also not dependent on outer circumstances, right? But yeah, it could be some kind of financial blessing coming back to you, or opportunity for some financial gain coming back to you. On the 11th, Pluto goes direct at 29 degrees of Capricorn in the 9th house, flirting with that 10th house. But this is a general forecast. I feel confident being able to give you the example of my Taurus rising to explain it, because sometimes I get a little bit confused when I'm trying to just talk in general about these things. But with the unequal house system, and depending upon your particular degree of sun or rising, for instance, with me, my, Pluto will not go into my 10th house until probably about 3 or 4 degrees of Aquarius. So it's not like when Pluto goes back into Aquarius on November 19th that it will re-enter my 10th house. It never entered there, and it will stay in my 9th house. Some of you are the same, where you have some Aquarius in your 9th house. But I'm going to pretend that everyone has it in their 10th house, okay? Because we already know what Pluto in the 9th house is all about. When it goes direct, it's really about your transformation as it pertains to your sense of what life means to you, your philosophy of life, your religious beliefs. I have I can say, having this once in a lifetime Pluto transit in my ninth house, that my uh, religious beliefs have changed radically, but it wasn't like overnight because Pluto's a generational planet. It took time, it took experiences for me to see this. And by doing so, I was able to kind of transform myself from within. And that has informed the work that I have been doing here because I see things in a totally different way. But by the same token, it has allowed me to go beneath the surface as it pertains, or maybe even in some cases, look at some organized religions in a new way because there are mystical versions. Like, I look at Pluto as being kind of the metaphysical version of each religion, and even the organized religions, like the Sufis is for Islam, the Gnostics for Christianity. Um, you know, the Kabbalists for Judaism. So anyway, you have Pluto going direct here. And like I said, on the 19th, it'll go back into Aquarius and it will go into that 10th house. And even if you're like me and it's not there yet, it might be at some time this year. So it doesn't really matter. Eventually, it will go into that particular sector. On the 13th, Mercury goes into Scorpio. This is into your 7th house of committed partnership. So because these Scorpio placements are in your 7th house, they can really lend themselves to intensity in relationships. It's no surprise because Taurus is known for jealousy, is known for some of those themes that Scorpio is known for. But when Mercury goes into your 7th house, you may be, aside from relationships, I mean, maybe you are getting married and you're going to, Mercury can be calling the reception hall, getting the marriage license, whatever it is, with documents. Mercury is about the paperwork and all of that and the communication back and forth. Making plans, thinking about it. But it's also about negotiations. And 7th house is about negotiations, mediators, the legal system. So, things, and that, obviously this transcends relationships. It can be other legal affairs. On the 17th, Venus goes into Sagittarius. Now, this for you is the 8th house. Venus has been in that 7th house for, the whole month, half of that month, coming from September. And that means that in the 8th house, Venus is even, diving deeper into the idea of partnership. Because to me, like the 7th house or the Libra part of partnership is more kind of like the outer stuff. The marriage license, the ring, all of that stuff. But it's not necessarily the feelings themselves. Libra's an air sign, and Libra rules that 7th house, but Scorpio rules the 8th house, and Scorpio's a water sign, and water signs are about emotions. And Scorpio's about deep, deep emotions. Venus in the 8th house can have you bonding at a very intimate level with your beloved. It can also be about other people's money. And, in some cases, there are going to be Taurus people that are having divorces. I mean, it's just a matter of statistics, right? I mean, the odds. There are always going to be people getting married and people getting divorced. And maybe Mercury in the 7th house is, talking to your legal team and, finding out when the divorce is going to go through. But it could be Venus in the eighth house could be receiving some kind of money from another person, or it's a shared resource, like for instance within a family, an inheritance that other people are also going to be partaking in that, like a will type of a thing. On that same day, on October 17th, we have a full moon at 24 degrees of Aries. Aries is your 12th house, Taurus, and this is the house of Pisces in astrology. So it is a very dreamy, otherworldly type of influence. It is actually the dream state, when you go night, that dream, that type of dreaming. And you could have a prophetic dream. You could have some kind of spiritual insight that affects, that helps you to understand yourself better, your life better. This is a great time to get rid of any kind of bad habits, because the 12th house can be, those kinds of things that you really want to get rid of, that, maybe have been plaguing you and you just find it hard to let go. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Scorpio. So now you have the sun joining Mercury. And, as I stated, Venus was in this area until the mid-month period. But you have two planets in that house of partnership. And this can be where your attention is concentrated at the moment, connected to another person. If you have started a business and you have clients, you may be taking care of your clients. It could be something along those lines. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonated. If you'd like a personal reading, I have all kinds of readings. Please check out the link below. Thank you for listening. Bye.